and welcome to another episode of the Spideydude Experience. It's the big 900th issue of Amazing Spider-Man, and this time we're going to be talking about nothing but. We're also going to be talking a lot about San Diego Comic-Con and what came out of San Diego. If you have not been paying attention, the San Diego Comic-Con was last weekend, and it was a big success. We'll talk with Adam, who was there. We'll talk about Marvel Legends and more in this episode. But before we get started, of course, we always want to thank our patrons at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. A special thanks to Vickman Scott, Greg, Jurgen, Phoenician, Kale, Georgia, and Cindy. Thank you guys for your support on patreon.com/Spideydude Network. It helps support all of our shows here on the Spidey Radio Network, such as Make My Mayday, Clone Saga Chronicles, which just released its final episode just last week. If you haven't checked that out, definitely go check that out as well. Spectacular Radio and Voices from the Area Gargoyles podcast. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is the 900th issue, as I previously mentioned. And with the 900th issue, I am Zach Joyner, your friendly neighborhood webmaster and host. Hello. And I'm joined of 900 of these. Oh. Neil Brooks.
900 D's nuts.
The host of Books of X. He's the co-producer of the program. Hello, Neil.
Hi. Was it worth it, Zach? Was 900 issues of Spider-Man worth this? Find out today.
Yeah. And, of course, we've got Adam.
Got him.
Oh, I got him good.
That's all about. All right, Adam, you just were at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yep.
Tell us about your experience. First.
It was good. Everyone was really excited to be there. A lot of cool news. Nice seeing the floor again.
Yeah. Was it as packed?
I don't think so. That's a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it was noticeable." I guess. Yeah, it was fairly noticeable that there wasn't as many people there. I heard that apparently you could just walk into Hall H on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Not Saturday though, because that was the big Marvel day.
Right.
DC stuff, but apparently you could just walk into Hall H. There was no real line for it on the days that weren't Saturday, so that's
wow.
Wowee.
I wish I knew that. Maybe I would have tried, but I've kind of vowed to I'd never attempt Hall H again. So
yeah, I was like, Adam, you're our feet on the ground. Get in there, get some coverage.
Well, did you go to the Spider panel?
I didn't.
He was at the Smiling Friends one.
Yeah, I was at that. I thought about doing that, but I skipped it because I figured, it's just gonna be like solicits, like it sometimes is with some previews, and I had a volunteer shift at that time, but they ended up not needing me, so I had the free time, but I kind of forgot about it. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
I saw some of this stuff.
So it's not like you were there on official business, right?
Yeah.
You weren't there for like either press pass or like on the floor work.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I took a lot of pictures of the figures for you guys because I know you like that. So I know Zach likes it. Javi likes it too.
Yeah.
It's mainly Zach because he's the one who makes us do it.
The Hot Toys, 3 Spider-Men from No Way Home. They were on the floor. They look really good. Yeah.
Hasbro's booth looked pretty cool with the Amazing Fantasy 15 cutout where you could like be held by.
Yeah. I forgot about that. I didn't do that, but yeah, that was cool.
So let's talk about some news.
Yeah, we want to talk about the Spider panel real quick.
You want to start with comics, or you want to start with Legends?
Let's start with comics, and then we'll go to Legends.
Okay, so as we all know, it was Sunday. Sunday was the next big thing panel, right?
Sunday was the next big thing.
I think that was.
No, I think that was Saturday because I was also going to try to make that, but then my volunteer shift was in shambles. Like at the end, we were all in shambles because we were arguing with the shift managers about taking our volunteer card thing to keep or whatever. I actually volunteered at the museum, and that exhibit looks really good.
Yeah, that exhibit was pretty cool from what you sent to us.
But anyway, I ended up missing that, but I ended up in the room after the fact to see Bill Nye. So,
ooh, that's cool. Was Dark Web part of Next Big Thing, or was that a separate?
I think it was. Maybe, I don't know.
Because next big thing, I remember there being like the Hickman Valerio Sheedy reveal, and then Cantwell's leaving Iron Man and starting Gold Goblin, whatever that is. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the main tent pole thing that they pushed at the Spider-Man focused panel, I don't know if it was next big thing, but I know it was the center of its own panel, was the Dark Web announcement. I believe that's coming out in November.
Yes.
Or December. I don't remember which.
So the 60 Years panel, the difference between that is they mainly focus on the Edge of Spider-Verse, Slott.
I'll pull that up real quick.
They showed the cover for simply Spider-Man #2, written by Dan Slott, art by Mark Bagley. Shathra is returning. So,
yeah, here we go. This is, I believe, November. This is November's solicits. I think Dark Web Prelude is coming out in December. We got a reveal of John Romita Jr.'s Chasm, which actually looks pretty good, all things considered.
I'm not a fan of the way he drew the spider on that, but
there's not a whole. I mean, it's kind of a distinct Gleason thing, and I don't think anyone can really translate Gleason's designs outside of Gleason.
I don't disagree with that.
Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man, written by Taboo of the Black Eyed Peas. Yes, that name still carries some weight in the entertainment industry. 7 years later. Let's see.
That just sounds like stunt casting.
What, Black Eyed Peas or
Ben Reilly? I shout out to Javi because.
Oh yeah, I'll put you on solo.
Yeah, he helped a brother out, and he sent me his reviewed Mafex Ben Reilly Spider-Man. So it is currently sitting on my shelf right now. It's one of the only few things I have posed right now. I'm not going to show my camera because right now my office is a train wreck. But yeah, big thanks to Javi for sending me that. That's insanely cool. You can find the review up on Spideydude.com. But yeah, the end of the Hobgoblin arc, which I'm kind of looking forward to.
Yeah, people are like trying to really connect some dots. Like they're like, "Oh, Paul's the Hobgoblin, guys. We're gonna get some resolution to the MJ stuff." And I'm like, "Don't
stop, just stop."
Not everything is related to MJ, guys. We'll even talk about that today.
Yeah.
I can't find the Dark Web reveal on the Marvel page. Let me move my sunflower seeds real quick, and then I'll. Oh wow, that was easy. San Diego Comic-Con.
Just scroll down to the very bottom, and there it is.
No, Venkman, don't call him what Kelly nicknamed him. Call him Baja Blast. He doesn't deserve the dignity of being called what Kelly calls him. Because that implies he's mature. Okay, so spinning out of ASM 14, drawn by Michael Dowling and Kyle Holtz. Hallows Webb, is it Hallows Eve?
Hallows Eve.
Who is totally not Janine, goblinified. And also Gold Goblin, which is Christopher Cantwell, and Lan Medina, which is Norman Osborn deciding, I want to be a good guy now, again. And so he dons the Gold Goblin costume, and it looks like a Pepsi Man, to fight the forces of evil in a 5-issue miniseries. And of course, we can't have a pointless crossover event without an alpha issue, so Dark Web Alpha #1. Get ready to know the most terrifying... Oh, sorry, what?
It didn't work in the 90s doing this alpha bullshit, okay? Like,
It didn't even work in Clone Conspiracy.
it didn't work in Minimum Carnage either. Like, I get that people are like, oh, 90s nostalgia, and trust me, I just completed the longest running show about the Clone Saga last week.
Go watch that, by the way. Go read it or listen to it.
Yeah, it's very emotional. If you, lots of tears were shed, and yeah, it was pretty rough. But it was even rougher to edit, actually. But stop it, Marvel. Just stop. Just stop. All that being said, stop it.
So let's see. This is going to be a Spider-Man X-Men crossover. So for those of you who couldn't get rid of Krakoa fast enough, guess again. You were wrong. It's not going away. Oh, but yeah, I guess Madeline Pryor is going to be the Dark Web, or better known as Hellions, was canceled before I could tell the story. But yeah, you've got Firestar there and Iceman, so you got that amazing Friends reunion, obviously. You've got Cyclops and Jean Grey and Magic. Hallows Eve is in the far left. Black Cat's in the top left, so that means she's going to be part of this, obviously. Venom, I don't know how Venom's going to tie into this, but okay, I guess. Spider-Man's still wearing his weird Tron costume, I guess. And MJ's there. I got to be honest, I don't like this rendition of MJ.
But that's Stegman, though.
I know, I just don't like Stegman's MJ. That's just the thing. Well, not the 616, like the weird, like the weirdly like lumpy hair.
I think that's just the part of the like the. It's part that's the coloring. I blame that more on coloring of her hair than Stegman's.
Who did the colors? It doesn't say who did the. I'm guessing it's Menez. Looks kind of like Menez. Let me see if I can.
Otherwise, it's a really great.
It was Menez. I'm good at this. It's a good cover. Other than, I also don't like the way Stegman draws Cyclops. He looks a little too lanky and like he's been too much chemotherapy to function as a human being.
Yeah. I do like the way he drew Chasm, though.
Yeah, I also like the way he drew Jean.
Yeah.
But other than that, we kind of knew this was coming. I don't think anyone is utterly surprised by these reveals.
Knew that well, because of Free Comic Book Day, we knew this was coming.
Well, yeah, but also that's kind of the entire reason we did know. But is anyone excited for this? I mean, is anyone like unimpressed?
So my goal is to put out a why Chasm doesn't work video before this launches. So it's going to be my first video essay here on the channel.
Do you have Final Cut Pro?
No, but I do have iMovie on my iPad.
That works.
So
just make sure you use that. Just make sure you don't record inside of iMovie because the capture quality is garbage.
Oh, it's terrible. No. I'll do the video on my phone, and then I will upload it to iCloud. Pull it from iCloud.
Okay. Good work. I'm glad that you've taken something away from me.
One of the best phones or phone cameras on the market. I might as well use it. So
was I supposed to care about any of these numbers? I mean, if you're coming just for Amazing Spider-Man, I don't know. I don't see them as like awful. I just don't see them as like the greatest thing ever. We kind of saw this coming from like a mile away, so it doesn't really surprise me.
If the whole point of the Beyond story was to build up to this dark web thing, then okay, it's part 2 of the ongoing narrative. The second block for the Ben Reilly arc. I'm interested. However, I'm also very trepidatious about this whole thing because this will be the first time we're seeing Wells handle a big crossover
event. Yeah,
it's a huge tentpole event. So this is something that it's going to be very interesting. I know there's a lot of people in the chat tonight that are not happy about it. Now, the Golden Goblin, by the way, did you? Because I'm going to bring up Mr. Comic's comment because I was going to bring this up earlier. Did you know there's an MC2 connection?
Mm-hmm.
That in the MC2, briefly, Phil Urich was the Golden Goblin.
I feel like this is more just name association rather than like any actual.
I mean, the hell, they're using the same font for the Goblin. I mean, from the 90s.
I don't disagree. I think that's more just asset reusal than like an actual distinct connection to Phil Urich.
Yeah. No, I do. I think there's a connection? No, but like there is a precedent for it.
Yeah, there's a precedent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I want to hear what you guys think of Hallows Eve. I think it's a cool design. I'm dollars and donuts is Janine. Like it's so obvious.
I mean,
I guess so.
I don't want it to be Janine. Janine does not need to be a villain. Janine needs to be the one that's trying to help bring Ben back from the edge.
I'm thinking Goblin Queen got to her.
And Kyle Holtz, this is the first time he's drawn Spider-Man since I think the Osborn Journal. So that's going to be interesting.
Dang.
I've got a kind of a weird concern, and you guys mind if I express it?
Go ahead.
I'm a little concerned about how quickly the X-Men are tying into another event. Because remember, they're tied into Judgment Day right now, the big summer blockbuster event. So
right.
We're going straight from 3 issues of that to a single issue that talks about Forge and like whatever he's doing for the Quiet Council, and then we're going immediately over to Dark Web, with 1 issue of break in between being an event tie-in book. And so that makes me a little unhappy as far as, keeping X-Men as a constant tie-in book, like how it wasn't ASM, like how during Civil War II, the Civil War II to Secret Empire pipeline, every book was constantly tying into the main tentpole event.
Yeah,
and there was like no escaping from it, and that was really frustrating for me.
Yeah, no, I think that for X-Men fans, I mean, you're definitely frustrated. It's one of those things that I am not looking forward to Ben Reilly's villainous turn. I get that there's the clone connection and Goblin Queen and Ben, blah blah blah. But from a Ben Reilly standpoint, I'm very wishy-washy, especially with the way they're portraying it. I mean, he's the newest member of Spidey's Rogues Gallery, and I'm like, so it's just not something that I would be interested in if I wasn't reviewing it for this show. Obviously, I'm going to be reading it because it's a Spider-Man event and we're a Spider-Man show. But if I wasn't doing a podcast, I don't know if I would be ready to plop down my money for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just because of what happens to... yeah, I know, Javi. I know. It's like the 48th clone of Ben. It's actually technically the 29th clone of Ben.
30th, actually.
Is it 30th?
Yeah, because it was it was Ben 27 in Clone Conspiracy. Then he died in Scarlet Spider. That's the 28th iteration, and then he got reset in Spider-Geddon. So that is 29. could have sworn there was one more reset.
Does the Beyond situation count as a death?
It's hard to keep up.
I guess this is like he decided to go schizo posting as Chasm, so that's kind of the next iteration.
I mean, it's definitely the death of his character. The character assassination that was done. Look, and I don't disagree with you, Mr. Comics. He says, at least we can see how Ben turned into a villain, unlike Clone Conspiracy, where we were just supposed to believe it. Well, that is true. I mean, at least there was...
We do watch Ben have his mental breakdown.
Right.
You experience it alongside him. It's just, I didn't buy it. It just felt a little too flip-floppy for it to be organic.
Bobby is right. What made Ben isn't a part of this dude, and that's kind of part of the point that I'll be making. That's one of the points that I'll be making in the video essay, is that if you take away the Peter Parker element of Ben, what is he? An empty vessel. So you could have pulled a Venom and brought in another guy to become the dark version of Spider-Man, and used Ben in such a way with the Beyond Corporation. You're not telling me you couldn't pull a flunky out from the Beyond Corporation? To me, instead of using the Beyond Corporation, I would have brought out Multivex, considering its connection to the Clone Saga and stuff like that. But that's just me.
To me, I feel like Beyond Corporation was chosen because Nick Lowe was the editor for Next Wave.
Yes. 100%.
And I was a little disappointed that like very little Next Wave went into Beyond. So
yeah, I mean, and the problem is that by bringing them in like that,
now you've inexorably tied them into Spider-Man's mythos,
and it's something that never had anything to do with Spider-Man. Again, that was always kind of my irritation. Was okay if you've never heard of Beyond Corporation. You have no idea what's going on. But anyway, back to as the resident X-Men fan, other than the timing, Neil, are you excited?
I enjoyed Zeb Wells' Hellions. Obviously, my attitude around Zeb Wells has changed considerably since his ASM run began. But I'm willing to give it a shot. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing this new iteration of the X-Men in a book that isn't in the main book. It's nice to see that they have like some in continuity appearances outside of just their title, and they're keeping consistent to the lineup. Like we've got Magic and like Firestar, Iceman, and Magic are on the new team, so it's not like it's like the last team is still there. So good continuity use of the actual lineup. I don't know how Venom's going to tie into this. I'm a little confused on that one, but I'm willing to give it a shot. I guess outside of the tie-in stuff, I don't really have any feelings about it. I'm willing to give him a shot on this. I don't really have... I'm kind of hoping to do like one-shots instead of keeping the main title constantly tying in, like what they did with King in Black, but who knows what will happen.
True story. Adam, your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know.
Let me get some sunflower seeds 1 second.
It is what it is, I guess. We'll see. I'm kind of intrigued about the Mary Jane thing, but other than that, it's kind of just something that we're going to have to review on the show.
So again, I mean,
but it is we haven't really had like a Spider-Man. We haven't had many Spidey X-Men crossovers, right? So this is kind of, if anything, it's something that hasn't happened in a long time. So we're kind of overdue.
I gotta say, once we get to this part of the Hicksman saga in Books of X, this will be kind of interesting to see how it ties over with whatever crew I end up doing that show with, and how it ends up tying in with this team.
Yeah, don't disagree. Books of X coming to you on Patreon first, patreon.com/Spidey Network. So we want to go to the next news story?
Sure, which one?
We're still on comics, right? Oh, no, we're on to toys.
Yeah, we're on to Marvel Legends. That was pretty.
Okay, so
do we want to do Legends Retro lineup first?
Yeah, let's do the retro. And I'm gonna try to find the Walmart. I forgot about the Walmart. So the Walmart Lizard is...
No, yeah, we know, Mike. We just spent like 10 minutes theorizing around it.
Mike, late to the party as always. So there was, while the week of San Diego Comic-Con, you had so there's
Bye, Hoppy. We'll miss you.
bye, Javi. We'll see you soon.
Don't choke to death, Neil, please.
Don't
I
die.
want my sunflower seeds.
All right, so right there's the first one's the Lizard. Lizard is now available. I think. Click on him. I don't know if he's sold out. Okay, the pre-order is still there. And then let me. Marvel Legend.
Damn, Ben Riley do be thick though. Look at them thighs.
Oh yeah, no, that's the standard body now. You can buy the Retrowave Spider-Man for $169. That's just laughable.
Oh my god.
Where is he at? I don't know if they have the Walmart exclusive.
Anyways, let's keep moving on the retro.
Yeah, so let's talk about the retro. They announced these two figures: a Beast, who's got a soft goods lab coat, and some extra accessories on the orange retro card.
Too much use in them thighs.
Oh no.
Mr. Comics, I highly encourage you to go listen to Clone Saga Chronicles finale for why I dislike all the flower jokes. Anyway, we also got Scorpion, Matt Goggin, done up in the same style as the animated series. This is also available right now. It is a repaint from the with a slightly altered head. Now the one that you're looking at right there, if you're watching us on the YouTube, which if you're not, you should. That is from the Molten Man Wave.
Why
So
is he so shiny?
yeah, it's much more metallic, and it's done more in the kind of a mixture between the classic Ditko design and then the Todd McFarlane. But right now, these are available for pre-order as we speak. So you can check that out. Links I'll post. You're good, Mr. Comics.
Let's go to Mezco next.
Yeah, let's go to Mezco. Mezco they've been announcing these really awesome looking figures. We talked, I think, a little bit about the Green Goblin, maybe, and this.
A couple episodes ago, yeah, we did.
The Ditko Spidey. So they announced at Comic-Con and MezcoCon, they revealed the next one is going to be Dr. Otto Octavius in his very classic John Romita Sr. inspired jumpsuit. Looks incredibly good. This is going to be a lot of fun for those. And it looks like he's got Benny tentacles. So for those that are looking for a nice 1/12 scale Doc Ock, that is definitely going to be where you want to go with Mezco. So they, that's pretty exciting. They also revealed at San Diego as well, from the panel, they did reveal that the Spider-Man and his amazing friends, you want to go to the Toy Arc link.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man and his amazing friends 3-pack. So this was
$75.99, I think, is the listing price.
Yeah, so this is available up on Hasbro Pulse. It's a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. It brings you a redesigned Bobby Drake, another one of the new bodied, basically the Retrowave body, Peter Parker with a slightly different head. And you've got Firestar, who is a bit of a reuse. She's reuse, except I think the difference is she's got double knees and double elbows, whereas I think the other one only had double knees. So she is on. They're using the Shriek body, I think, with this Firestar. So, which is exciting.
So since we're on a Firestar discussion, and we're kind of keep tying it back into X-Men, I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on Firestar's new costume. Let me get it pulled up real quick. But now that she's on the X-Men, they gave her a new costume. I'll go find it real quick, but I want to see what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I think I saw it, but I'm not. Again, it's one of those things. I'll probably start following along. Yeah, I mean that's a cool suit. I mean,
my main concern is that Fire Mask makes her too similar to Sunfire, who was on the team's last iteration when the volume started.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it's a cool, I guess not necessarily tactical, but I guess diversified redesign.
It's fairly stylish.
Yeah. Other than that, I think it's a fairly solid
modern.
Look for her.
Yeah, look, I think she's been one that they needed to bring in and kind of ingrain her into. I think she's a highly underrated character, and it looks good. I mean, it's a cool redesign, and I'm here for. I'll say this: the designs of most of the characters on the current iteration of X-Men, the Krakoa X-Men, I think they look pretty good. They aren't my X-Men. I mean, my X-Men are the Jim Lee X-Men because of the animated series. So I mean, like basically, I have my Fantastic Four. I've got most of my Avengers, and I have my X-Men. But so there's very few characters that I'll get. Now I did pre-order the 3-pack. I did alert our good friend Brad Douglas about the 3-pack because he didn't know. Well, one, was Amazing Friends, but two, I had to tell him about the fact that if you were a Hasbro Pulse subscriber, you got first dibs. So he was going to try to order it at 4:00 when it first came available. But looks like everything is still available. I still don't know about the Walmart Spider-Man animated.
Brad's probably the one who got Sunfire or Firestar voted onto the team, because like with the gift, when the first round of voting came out, everyone voted Polaris because she was on the Gifted. Now everyone who watched Amazing Friends when they were 5 years old is voting Firestar into the team.
Well, that makes sense.
I disagree, Tev. Hellfire Gala one shot was a great time for me.
All right, so
Also helps that I've been following the most of the series that got touched on in that book. So not like her George Perez design. That's fair. I mean, you kind of, I don't want to say you're stuck with the George Perez design, but it's kind of the one you kind of default back to.
So
this was really good though. The first issue of Judgment
Lizard, but they also announced at Walmart Collector Con, which if I can freaking find it, because Walmart's website is terrible, by the way. You had the Lizard was announced for that, but they also had a animated series Spider-Man. Which, hang on, if I can. Here, I'll send you the link so that way, because we didn't talk about this because this came out during, again, last week when we weren't on the air. That last link's the animated series one.
Yeah.
Pretty much the only difference is the cell shading on him, and then the obviously the head is definitely straight out of the '90s show. So if you're a fan of the '90s show, this was available. Now that pose is definitely from the original '90s Toy Biz on the card. But yeah, this one's going to be hard to find for some people.
No, Mary Jane,
Pretty much.
Mary Jane.
Well, why? Why would you do that when I have it right here? Like,
Okay, do it. Get back here, Shocker!
I have not isolated that audio. I need to isolate that audio.
Shocker! You can't escape me! I'll
wasn't at
chase you to
Walmart.
the ends of the earth!
What?
I wish this wasn't at Walmart. I don't go to Walmart.
They're so hard to find. They really genuinely are. The fact that this was an exclusive really irritates me. But they seem to have done that a lot. Oh, God. This is what happens when I give Neil power. They made the Venom or the retro Venom of the PulseCon exclusive, and then you have obviously the Lizard looking straight up out of the '90s show was a Walmart exclusive. So I need to double check the rumor mill, but I think we're almost to the point where we've gotten all the Marvel Legends announced for the next little while. From the panel, though, if we want to go to the panel itself, which is 197, Neil. Link.
Wait, what? Oh,
Okay, yeah. All right, so you're at the panel. For those that cannot read it, I will read it aloud. So,
bunch of MCU stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of MCU stuff. They do talk about the Selfie series, which is a new where you can get your own custom Marvel Legend. You get your, they basically take some face scans and you can have your head made into a Marvel Legend. It's like $60. So
that Black Panther looks sick. I think that's Black Panther.
Yeah,
I'm a sucker for Cape Black Panther.
Yes, that is one that they revealed. The Loki series, classic Loki, He Who Remains was revealed. Howard the Duck from What If.
I gotta say, I'm not happy with that. I know it's meant to be like just a prop, but that lack of articulation is pissing me off.
Yeah, it's very much the same mold as how Spider-Ham was a few years back. So
just regular Loki with a Tesseract prop.
Yeah, so the Loki is the Tesseract. They had the role play version of the Tesseract. This is basically improved, and then you get the Loki figure too. So those that missed out on the Tesseract first time can get it this time. The Black Panther comic wave, Black Panther, and comic Harturazari. I butchered that. If you missed out on Sentry from a while back, they do have Sentry's coming to be a Walgreens exclusive,
along with the Void. I think that's the Void head prop.
Yes, and you have the Void. You have the Void head swap, which did not come with the last one. I actually like this head sculpt a lot better than the last Sentry. So the likely next Spider-Man wave, we don't know if it's going to be retro card or if it's going to be
Modern Legends, but the Human Fly.
So you got Human Fly, Agony, and Riot. So that completes the Separation Anxiety crew for those that are looking. Agony is the Shriek body. So she's got the double knees and double elbows. Riot is using the Monster Venom body. So reuse on those two. Human Fly is the new one also, but Razorback is coming to Marvel Legends. So another, I think he was a DeMatteis character.
Who
But
on us for not knowing our spider history?
and then
Razorback was Mantlow's spec run in
That's
the
Mantlow's-
early issues, I think.
Yeah,
Like
so
the very early spec issues.
So we've got Scorpion and Beast. There's a
Yeah.
lot of that Amazing Friends panel, or the Amazing Friends bit. Iceman and Firestar props, and there's a Miss Lion figurine.
Lion. Okay, so Firestar, the single figure of Firestar came with a comic version of Miss Lion. The 3-pack will bring forth the animated version of Miss Lion. They also announced the Heralds of Galactus Fallen One and updated Terrax 2-pack. That's Hasbro
There we
Plus.
go.
That's Hasbro Pulse exclusive. And then they did tease that the next HasLab will be Ghost Rider. Don't know what that means.
Allegedly, it is Robbie Reyes.
Yeah, there's some hints that they dropped in the case over the weekend that it's going to likely be Robbie Reyes. I think it's going to be all three of them. Personally, I think that's the only way that makes sense to make it a HasLab. There is more Gamerverse coming, but nothing based on the past right now. So somebody asked about like Marvel versus Capcom figures, but they're going to be too busy working. They're actually working on the new PS5 Spidey. So there will be some more Gamerverse stuff coming. The rest of the Black Panther wave was revealed the next day, and it was all MCU related characters. So they were basically waiting on the MCU announcement. They also announced over the weekend to round out the Disney Plus Wave 2, She-Hulk is the final figure that was to be revealed. So Disney Plus Wave 2 is now all been revealed. So if you missed out on Wave 1, Wave 2 is the Ultron from What If is the Build-A-Figure there. So the Black Panther wave, they had the Namor, Okoye, who was the Build-A-Figure in the first Black Panther movie wave. She is just a regular figure this time. I think they had Shuri and...
I think Ramonda was in that wave, wasn't it? Wasn't she?
Yeah, not in that wave, but who's... Oh, God, he played Watson.
Everett Ross, Agent Ross. I think
so. A new civilian body. I think. I don't think it's the same suit body that we've seen over the past little bit. So,
CIA guy.
Yeah, your CIA guy. So basically now, obviously with Legends, you're always looking. I was kind of surprised they didn't announce the HasLab, but they will probably announce that on a stream. I would think the end of or in a couple of weeks. So because they usually did it throughout the month of, I think last few times they did it like the middle of August. They made the announcement and then basically gave people 6 weeks to come up with the money to crowdfund. I am genuinely disappointed that they went the Ghost Rider route. I was hoping that because we were in the 60th anniversary of Spider-Man that we would see something Spider-Man related. But
Living Brain.
Yeah, we're kind of still playing for P-Thug come in.
It's also Hulk and
Hello,
Thor.
little man.
Oh,
Hi.
hi. How you doing? I didn't see you there. What are you guys up to?
We
Yeah,
just
talking about toys.
we've been talking about toys. We've been talking about comic, the stuff from San Diego Comic-Con.
Toys are tight.
Adam gave his thoughts about how San Diego Comic-Con is. But hello, welcome to P-Thug, the host of the Comic Binge YouTube.
Hi.
Oh shit! I forgot to pull up the.
No, it's all good. All good. Hey, sorry I haven't been missing here for a while, guys. I missed talking with all of you. Zach, I missed talking to you, brother. I hope you're doing well. It's life is crazy. Life is nuts. And that's one thing we all kind of probably agree on in some ways. And I'm excited because I haven't really given my thoughts on the Zeb Wells run. That kind of just the first 5 issues kind of came through, and I guess you could still say this is like the sixth issue of the run, if you will, because it kind of does kind of end things a little bit in some ways.
We haven't gotten to that yet.
No, I know, but I'm just saying I just haven't. We haven't talked about. I haven't
okay.
talked about anything, so I'm excited to.
Paul, you've been here for some of it.
Some of it, but not the last last couple episodes. Life has just been insanity. So but no, I wanted to make sure I got on and talked about today's issue, and I did all these Marvel Legends reveals. I'm bummed because like I want to get a bunch of them, but it's just like, man, between Star Wars and Marvel figures, man, oof.
Dude, right now, yeah. If you got, so are you gonna get Razorback?
You mean the Hasbro lab?
No, the Razorback. The Marvel Legends Razorback, the character that they announced, like it's going to be probably the next wave.
Is he the Build-A-Fig, or is he like actually in the?
He's an actual 6-inch.
He's a regular 6-inch figure. Yeah, they're bringing Razor. Like I know you like lame villains, so
is he a villain, or is he he's more of an ally? I would say I don't think I'll get him. I wasn't a huge Razorback fan. He was too hokey. Like I like the costume, but the origin of him is pretty weak, in my opinion. That's my opinion.
Robo from the Fwoosh was super excited, and they actually gave him the prototype to hold in his hand, so he got to hold it.
That's cool. That's I do want to get like the I did want to get the spinner. I need to read. I read a little bit of that run initially, but I never read the whole thing, so I need to do that on the binge. Maybe I'll have maybe a Spider-Man Council. We'll have to cover that episode, some of those issues, huh?
Maybe Zach will be able to show up to the Spider Council this time.
You're busy, bro. We'll get you on. We'll go figure it out. We'll figure it out. Tuesdays have just been the dates, and Neil, we'll get you on too, brother, as long as you behave yourself. I'm
Neil behave himself. I mean, he got me to say D's nuts on air.
Yeah. As he's like acting like it's offended him as he has 900 of D's nuts on his name.
Audio listeners, you got to go to youtube.com/radio network.
Oh Neil, young, dumb, and fill in the rest.
Oh no!
Hang on, let me get my glasses so I can look intellectual.
What dude? If I didn't nearly trust me, you do not want my situation of glasses, because I can tell you right now, I have the worst eyesight. I have like a bad stigma, like with my left eye, where like I have to like basically do this. Have you ever seen me do this on camera? This is like behind the curtains here. It's because my vision, like my left and my right eye, are always competing. So I have to do this to like center myself, basically. So if I ever like see myself do this, like I do it in theaters because my eyes will it sucks. I hate it. Like so.
Here's the thing. I have good normal vision, but I just use these to focus on reading. So
I wish I had everyone's problem. It's just something I can easily fix, but it also getting an eye appointment right now is horrible. So we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways,
Optometry 101 with Paul.
You don't even know.
Yes. Grizzly is on my list. We'll have to do a list. Maybe we'll do that as a special video on.
You need to give me a list of what's coming out, because I can't keep up with the stuff, man.
Dude, so they just at San Diego, the pre-orders are up for the Lizard.
I need to get that.
The animated series, and that's Walmart exclusive, and it's still up, so you can still catch them.
Wait, so Lizard's on Walmart exclusive only?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you got to pay. I know everybody but me is wearing glasses right now. Lizard's Walmart exclusive. They did an animated 90s animated series version of Spider-Man, but I cannot find the link for him. I'll try to put the links down in the description after we get done with the episode. Hasbro Pulse did the Spider-Man Amazing Friends 3-pack. That is available for pre-order, but that's not going to come out until next year. So,
it's out of stock.
Oh, really? The Lizard is?
Wait, hold on. I'm going to do the wrong thing. It's looking at a Toy Biz thing. Is it a Toy Biz like
it's not
vintage?
Well, it's the retro card, yes.
Yeah, I'm so confused. All right.
I have no idea what's going on.
I'll put the link in the chat.
Someone send me the link, please. Someone send me a link, please. Help me out, please. I want this figure really bad. See how bad I am. I'm like, oh crap, stuff is for sale. Damn it.
Yeah, stuff is for sale.
Man.
Oh yeah, here you go, buddy. There's the actual.
Dankeschön.
Again, we'll put the links down in the description below for the stuff that's for sale. We did talk about the Mezco Doc Ock. That looks really, really freaking cool. Mezco killing it, man. Them and NECA. NECA, speaking of NECA, they did announce more Gargoyles stuff. And the Gargoyles comic written by Greg Weisman. So that means that for the foreseeable future, we will continue to have more content here on Voices from the Eyrie. So it may go forever.
Yeah, it won't let me pre-order still.
Oof.
Yeah, you may have to go in the aftermarket.
Nah, it's me, the lizard. Nah.
That's a bummer, bro. I missed out on that one.
I only managed to get one, so I'm gonna try to find one loose.
Okay,
good.
fellas.
That sucks.
Is it time?
Yeah, I think it's time. We've covered an hour's worth of news, and so
an hour's worth of news.
Well, I mean, it's taken us an hour to get through like 5 different news topics. So.
Yeah. I mean, and these are all related. You know, they're not. You know, somebody jumping up on the top of a trash can and
saying I'm Spider-Man.
So while we're waiting for Paul to finish buying action figures, Neil, what are some of my favorite Star Trek: The Next Generation episodes? Oh, I can do this like off the top of my head. The Drumhead, Chain of Command, Parallels.
Well, joke's on you, Vinkman. I didn't buy anything, so there you go.
Family, the Wounded. What's that? What's that 2-part at the end of season 4? The one where Data gets a daughter. I don't remember. Data's Day. A lot of season 4 in my top 10 list.
My favorite Star Trek anything is the Undiscovered Country. That's my jam.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Great movie. I love it movie. It's the only Star Trek movie.
First Contact is my go-to.
Word.
Yeah.
I also like Abrams' first Star Trek movie a lot too, and like Into Darkness. The third movie is complete shite.
You didn't like? I think Beyond is the best one.
Beyond is friggin' awful, in my opinion. Oh, I
like the first. I like the first one. I hate Into Darkness though.
I can see why people don't like Into Darkness, but I think I have a fondness for it because he was already tapped to write and direct The Force Awakens, and I love the
But Orci and Kurtzman were the ones who wrote the script, not Abrams.
No, I know, but he directed it, and I love the opening of that movie. Is fantastic.
No, it's less to do with the directing and more with the script. I think that Orci and Kurtzman are awful screenwriters. I don't know how they still get work.
I want to ask her SoFlo a little bit here. SoFlo, man, I want to say that in my opinion, I think Secret Wars is going to be No Way Home on steroids, and I think you're gonna get Tony Stark, you're gonna get Hugh Jackman,
you're gonna get Tom Cruise Iron Man.
I don't know if you're gonna go that far. I think you're definitely gonna get Tony Stark or Captain America or both. Chris Evans, they'll all come back for Secret Wars. You're going to get either a Toby or Andrew or both. Hugh Jackman and a few other X-Men characters will be back. Probably, what's his name? Patrick Stewart will come back.
I really hope
I think you're going to get
Patrick Stewart's still alive by the time Secret Wars filmed.
I just think that they're going to unload all kinds of characters that we've forgotten about or have, or again, in new incarnations of people we've never even seen. I mean, that's the thing too. I think,
I think, and this is what I've
happened.
I had said this, I think even a few episodes ago, that they were building up to Secret Wars, and it was nice to be validated on the
SD. Was obvious though. I mean, not saying like anything against you, but like it was, they were starting really tipping their hand with the incursions in Doctor Strange.
No, I honestly think that also
As soon as we started talking about Marvel movies, the view count went up by double what we had before.
I think that Secret Wars is going to. I think you're right, Paul. I think it's going to bring every freaking buddy.
I really hope it isn't just like a cameo fest, though. It would really suck if it just turned out to be like, look, guys, remember this thing that happened?
I don't think so. I think they're going to combine Beyond the Beyonder and Doom from Secret Wars 3. I think Secret Wars 1 and 3, because no one gives a F about Secret Wars 2, but Secret Wars 1 and 3.
What if they did do Secret Wars 2? How would you react to that?
I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably give up. I think they're gonna combine both of them together. I think Kang is going to be the Beyonder, and I think it's going to be him being like, whoever wins is the ultimate universe, will be the ultimate winner, and they'll be the only timeline that goes on, and it'll end the whole for the most part, it'll end the multiverse idea. And I think that's where you're going to have probably, certain factions like they had in Secret Wars 1 a little bit when you had the X-Men kind of doing their own thing. But you also Secret Wars 3 was a really cool premise, but it got out of hand really fast. And so I think that if you make it simplified and have Kang be the Doom Beyonder character, which it totally makes sense, you bring everyone in, like Zach said. I think that's what they do. You have a blast doing it. You don't have to have Tom Holland in it. You can have this like your makeshift Avengers team. And the cool thing about it is that you can have this team of people that's in the Secret Wars movie, and they can have the Thunderbolts still going on doing their thing in the background. You still have building that storyline, because eventually you're ending this multiverse saga, and what's going to happen afterwards? You're going to have the fallout from it. So I think the Thunderbolts / Dark Avengers will be the fallout.
Well, no, aren't they supposed to be coming in Phase 5 before Avengers?
Well, right, but that's my point. I think they'll still be established as like the new Avenger team, Kang Dynasty, because Kang doesn't want the Avengers around. That's the whole point. He doesn't want them because they.
I'm gonna be honest. I've kind of my ears have kind of glazed over. I don't know. Maybe I'm just experiencing MCU fatigue. I know that's kind of a meme. But I don't know, the last few projects haven't done it. The last few projects haven't done it for me. I think I'm going to call it quits.
I think the reason why the fatigue feels more real now is because the shows are kind of required watching now, whereas they're not that good. And the other shows,
and also
weren't.
Also as someone who's really into labor rights, the shit shows coming out of the Marvel VFX controversy.
But that's just not Marvel. That's just a whole Hollywood in general.
I know, but like.
Marvel,
apparently,
it's becoming more apparent with Marvel.
The rumors are that like I read a thing that like VFX artists, Marvel wants VFX artists, and VFX artists are like, I don't know, dog.
Wow. I mean, if you look at, I loved Miss Marvel a lot. I thought that was actually a better, and it wasn't the visual effects. It was the family aspect.
Sure.
Moon Knight was a disappointment. Moon Knight's one of my favorite characters in comic book history. Man,
Moon Knight was a total drag.
It's hit and miss.
I haven't seen either one yet, so
anyway. Moon Knight it's hit and miss. Some episodes are fantastic, some are just dog shit. Like basically, I mean,
you guys realize we're almost at the hour mark, so let's talk about Amazing Spider-Man, the show people came here to.
No, I mean, yeah, we can sit there and talk about MCU all day long. I think, and
we should make its own video.
We should do like a Patreon exclusive where we're talking about like what we think about the future.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Just making sure I can actually see my daughter for a little bit. That's why I can't come on the show, man. I can see my kid.
All right. Well, here we go. We are the main event of the evening. It is the 900th issue of Amazing Spider-Man, and Spider-Man was fighting the Tombstone. The Tombstone. Spider-Man was fighting Tombstone, and he. Now we are in issue, but that was the first 5 issues. But now here we are, the 6th issue of Zeb Wells' run. We open with I'm the one doing the recap, so strap in, boys.
Yeah, Zach, move away from the mic. It sounds like you're eating it.
Coming in a little hot.
Yeah.
How about now?
Much better.
You sound great.
Okay.
Make that recap snappy. Come on.
All right. So we open with we're at a former landfill. Some talking heads are going. It's costing them $15 million. It's revealed that he is the project Mr. Petty, Dr. Petty, had been disposed of a month ago, and in the landfill they get the old version of the living brain, and then we get the 2-page splash of the credits. It's written by,
they cropped it wrong in Photoshop.
Yeah, they really did. Zeb Wells is the writer. Ed McGuinness is the penciler. Mark Morales, Ed McGuinness, Wade Von Grubadger, and Cliff Rathburn did the inks. And you had 3 colorists on this one because it's a oversized issue. We open at 3 p.m. sharp, where Peter Parker is crashing.
He's on time for once.
It's almost as if we didn't have this 400 issues ago, but that's okay. Nora Winters pushes him out the door, saying that Jonah's not here, and so, eventually, after talking it over, Nora lets him back in. We see a lot of familiar faces. Looks like we see Carly, Vin, Gonzalez.
Can I just real quick? I know I keep jumping in here. Why did they invite the guy who has a white supremacist style goblin tattoo on his wrist to Peter's birthday party?
I don't know, because it's Zeb Wells.
Yeah.
And we got Felicia there with Robbie as well. So, and Aunt May. So at 3:15, Peter's talking with Liz, and then Flash shows up and calls Peter a loser. So then Bobby Morse, because she's a former thing. She's talking about.
We still on only like the second page.
No, I'm on the the 5th page, dude, 6th page. So we have,
let's get this party rolling. Come on.
Hey, Paul, who's doing the recap? Do the recap. All right, let me do the recap.
Paul, you're allowed to get mad at me because I'm only the co-producer. Zach's the executive producer, so you don't get to get mad at him.
Come
All
on.
right. He's talking with
the book, for God's sake.
Okay, he's talking with Aunt May. He's talking with Bobby. He's talking with Flash. He's talking with Black Cat, who's a little slightly jealous. And then all of a sudden, the arms of Dr. Octopus comes in. And it sounds like it's Jonah with a big old splash page of yelling, "Parker, help!" So some comedy ensues because Jonah has no idea what's going on, and he's trying to talk to Peter, and whisper. Black Cat comes in and kicks.
Damn, mega thigh action right there! Holy shit!
Yeah. So then we have Bobby trying to come in, and the two of them are kind of playing off of each other, and then Jonah falls out the freaking building. So Peter's, going to get Jonah. Zeb, a Zeb company truck, almost gets hit, but Jonah gets saved by the arms. Meanwhile, Peter, in a big 2-page splash, catches said truck, and the arms are, trying to attach themselves, and says help. So things just got interesting. So Jonah then goes upstairs.
They carve out the word help, and
they carve out the word help. So needless to say, Peter's trying to figure out what's going on with the arms. So the arms basically start leading him to Doc Ock. Remember from issue 1 of this volume, he was attached. Doc Ock was captured by some random dude, which we found out now is the living brain, the ultimate living brain. So as the people are as everybody's leaving the party, living brain shows up, and turns out they're all getting hauled up on a ship. So turns out the arms then take him to the original living brain and starts asking, "Who is Spider-Man?" So turns out that it's an adaptoid, with the Sinister Six, and that causes a big giant fight. So Peter's trying to fight the Sinister Six. Meanwhile, the living brain is like, "Who is Spider-Man?" And they're trying to answer the question. Meanwhile, they throw Peter in, and then we get the origin story of the living brain, and it was in fact a brain. We also get some references to the original Ditko comic as well. So Peter's like, been knocked unconscious, and then, he gets up, starts fighting this sinister adaptoid, and then, of course, he finds Doc Ock. So, turns out Doc Ock was not the only one he captured. He captured the entirety of the Sinister Six, which, hilariously, Sandman doesn't know if he's actually a villain or if he's actually not a villain at this point, because last time he was a pillar of sand. Peter then convinces the Sinister Six to team up, and so we have this big giant splash page of the Sinister Six. Big giant fight. And eventually, the Sinister Adaptoid gets overwhelmed by the amount of ego with the Sinister Six. And then Sinister Six are about to take on Peter. Peter's trying to protect the brain. Turned out that the brain got the answer to his question. Who is Spider-Man? This is Spider-Man. And so Super Living Brain basically takes the Sinister Six away. And so he then tells Peter happy birthday. And then everything goes to black. Black Cat meets him outside. They have a brief conversation. Issue ends. Black Cat kisses him, saying happy birthday, Spider-Man. The Doc Ock arms, who when Otto was about to attack, decided not to attack. And Otto arms are
they're in love with Peter now, I guess.
They're in love with Peter now, which I don't understand. Next issue 7, Norman Osborn has a Spidey helmet.
Do you want to just cover the shorts real quick?
Yeah. There's 3 short stories in the back, but that is the main book. All right, Paul.
All right, let's take it around the horn. Let's start with Paul, just because he's gonna be champing at the bit to talk unless we let him. So go ahead.
I can wait. It's fine. I'm not chopping that much of the bit. I just want to conversate. Excuse me, with everybody.
Give me a grade.
I'm gonna give it a solid B.
Well, okay. Adam
is a B.
Yeah, I think I'll give it a B too.
Man.
Neil,
I'm gonna give it a C plus.
Okay, there you go.
Not bad.
I'm going to give this a. Oh, I didn't mean to hit F11.
I'm very curious what Zach's going to write.
Right.
I already know it's going to be. Hold on. I'm not even going to look. I'm just going to guess it's going to be a B minus.
Oh, shit.
I know you too well. I know you too. I had no idea that was going to happen.
I thought about
had
doing
no idea.
I think my gut was saying B minus, but I think B is because I think it's more enjoyable than not, actually.
Well, there's a lot of I'll elaborate later, but
I have reasons.
There's a lot of things that made me a lot of small things made me really upset.
Right.
But I think just overall it wasn't really deserving of a Centennial placement.
The fact that you're okay. Here's one of my gripes about it. You just did your version of Coming Home for the last 5 issues. And then you turn around and do Happy Birthday Peter Parker story in a Centennial, which is exactly what the name of the
Centennial, the 500 was, yeah.
Yeah. But as a one and done, this is pretty good. Ed McGuinness's artwork is good. Yes. There's a few. I don't really love his Doc Ock. I'm not gonna lie.
My main issue is the inkers aren't incredibly consistent with each other. There's a lot of you can tell which inkers are which. Like I can tell which one is Mark Morales. I can tell which one is Cliff Rathburn.
Yeah.
The art shifted. I would agree with that too.
It's cool that he did like an entire issue by himself.
Right.
The last Centennial issue we had was just was like 5 different artists. So it's cool for the main stories. We got one artist, even if it was a bunch of different inkers.
Yeah, no, I thought Edmund McGuinness did an incredible job here. A little anticlimactic on a couple of things. Flash and Peter interact.
Oh my god, I hated the Flash stuff so much.
That doesn't make. Here's the thing about that. That should be a big moment, and it's basically a joke.
Oh, I'm glad you're alive again. I watched you die in my arms. Oh, I'm glad you're alive. Get out with that. That pissed me off.
That's probably one
I
of my.
understand the joke because Flash is a jerk, but the thing is like
he should be past the jerk angle too. He's back to like
but I actually agree with. I don't really know. I forgot what happened to Flash. That's how much I don't really care about.
The thing is, he died, but the problem is he
died. Where did he die again?
He died in
ASM 800.
Right?
800.
It's been a minute. It's been a while.
And here's the weird thing. And here's
that's right. He died. He died with the Red Goblin, right?
What pisses me off?
Yeah. Okay.
Hang on. What pisses me off is that Peter and Flash were like, I don't want to say like best friends, but they were close enough that like Peter was actively still mourning Flash's death in Spencer's run, and he didn't know that Flash had come back to life after King in Black. And this is like apparently, I guess, their first interaction together since ASM 800, where Peter held Flash in his arms as he died, and it's like, oh, Peter's a loser. Glad you're alive, dick.
Yeah, it's a real anticlimactic moment, and I think that's also the random cameos in the background. Like Ben Gonzalez and Carly, like just
Carly I can justify.
Yeah, I can understand Carly,
but like the guy who kidnapped your best friend's son and has the equivalent of a white supremacist tattoo and swore eternal loyalty to Norman Osborn.
Yeah,
why would you bring him there?
And thing about the kiss, by the way, the ending kiss. Stop. This is what Black Cat does. Okay, if she knows if she's not with Mary Jane, or if
she's not with Mary Jane,
if he's not with, then he's a free agent.
Myers is perked up. Hold on a second. What are we talking about again? Black Cat, Mary Jane. That's right.
Something else that got me upset. Anna Maria suddenly having a thing for Doc Ock now. Like the guy who raped her, she's suddenly now into him. And Paul, you might be wondering what I'm talking about. Like when Otto was in Peter's body, that entire thing kind of counts as rape by deception.
Oh God!
There's a lot of weird consent.
It's getting way too. Oh man,
going back to like other characters that were in the birthday party scene, Bobby has not been seen in over.
Yeah, okay. There's a reason why I gave it a B. Okay, so just for the record, it was
all out right now. We're getting all the.
I'm just gonna get into it now. Okay, was that Adam?
I said okay, go.
Go.
I'm sorry, cut out. My internet's bad.
Go.
I said go for it, basically.
Oh, sorry.
Ninja, go ninja.
Oh, sorry.
Go.
So here's the thing. I apologize. I haven't been able to watch the last couple episodes, and so I don't know the general feeling of what the census of Wells was. I know I've talked to Javi, and Nico from the council, and they have enjoyed Wells' run. I know Adam, you've kind of enjoyed Wells' run for the most part. I know I don't think you've hated it, Neil, and I don't think Zach too. I don't think you've hated it either. It's been inconsistent. I think you've had issues with this issue in particular. Is kind of a great example. No, but for the most part, it's been consistent. The whole run's been, and I count this as the initial run because 5 issues isn't run, but this is a standalone. This will obviously go at the very end of the trade. So, I mean,
I think it's supposed to be its own like spine bound.
Is it?
Yeah,
perhaps.
It won't be in its own. It won't be in like the trade for these.
Yeah, the first trade is only issues 1 through 5, and then it cuts. The next trade is, I think, the one where they work, the one that leads into the Hobgoblin trade.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the Betty thing, man, is like.
Well, and McNulty, sir, like, let's be real. Like, time in comics is not necessarily the same in real life. So I'm not
going to
count 6 months. I mean, you have a valid point.
It should, though. It really should.
But I mean, Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe she had a miscarriage. We don't know.
God.
Why is she still
Or maybe she
carrying
had the baby
around
for all
her
we know.
then?
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, Zeb Wall's run does not suck. Sorry to break it to you, but anyway, the thing with Zeb's run has been when it's good, when it's firing on the best cylinders, is when it's focusing on the current narrative. All right, that's where it's the best. When it's just focused on the story at hand, it's not trying to hint at this little thing happening here, and that's where I love it. And what I don't like, and I haven't liked it from the start, is the whole backstory where like we had the flashback, flashback to something to happen with Peter and Mary Jane. Now we got to figure out what's going on, the mystery. It's like, come on. And I think that has been my main. I'm going to start with the bad first, because I think that this run has been good for the most part, but it's what's tying it down is this really, really. I think it was a bad idea to have this mystery box but happen between Peter and MJ. It's only getting worse as far as my opinion. So I don't want to be a Zeb Wells apologist here, and I'm not, because I don't like the Mary Jane. I don't like where they're going with this whole thing, because I feel like it's heavy. It's heavy-handed. It feels like they're setting up. I talked about. I think that marriage is coming back. This to me still points to that direction, because they're so heavily going like they're not together. Look, Black Cat's making out with Peter. It's like, just stop it. Just stop this already, for God's sakes. I just want it to stop.
It feels like the reality slap all over again for a lot of people, and I understand that. But at the same time, like, I view this, like, the ending of this issue is more Black Cat being
Black Cat.
Being Black Cat, and less. Well, I mean, look, Debbie, there's plenty of people that might want that still want Peter and Felicia to be together.
Can I offer kind of a thing?
Just because, like, look, I get that there's a segment of fandom that is Mary Jane and Peter, and that's all, and that's everything that they view Spider-Man through. They're viewing Spider-Man through the Peter and MJ relationship, and if you are viewing it through that way, you're not going to like this. You're just not. It's not going to be for you. And that's okay. However, there is plenty of people that aren't looking at it through that prism. And if you don't look at it through that prism, then I think, okay, all right. The first arc, look, I didn't like the first issue. This one isn't my favorite of the run. But, we're getting back to basics in a sense of we're at street level now. Like, this is the most sci-fi story that
The most cerebral thing we've done so far.
It's the biggest, like, highbrow thing that we've done so far. And guess what? Instead of it being a 5 or 3 issue arc, you got it done in a single issue.
And I want to say too, and Neil, I'm gonna let you have it, because I want to get on my positives here, but I want to say very well done. One and done issue, by the way, too. So as far as, a beginning, middle, and end, Neil, you want to say something about the Black Cat situation?
Yeah. So first off, I actually want to touch base on, like, it being self-contained. I think it was a little underwhelming for a Centennial issue, but we'll get to that later.
Right.
As far as who Peter ends up with in the end, I think Peter and MJ are the end game. But if they want to give Peter, in the meantime, if they want to give Peter and Felicia, like, a genuine second chance, and not what they had in Brand New Day, where they're, like, friends with benefits, but the mask stays on. If they go back to that, I will be very unhappy, because Felicia's had 4 years of character development since the unmasking, since Peter unmasked to her, and their relationship has completely changed beyond that. But if they want to give Peter and Felicia, like, a second, like, a genuine shot in the meantime, while we're still figuring out this MJ stuff, I'm not unopposed to that. I think that Zeb Wells gives them enough chemistry that they could pull it off. I think that
some of the best Black Cat scenes. I mean, we said it last episode. The scene with Black Cat when Peter goes back to his apartment. I thought really was in character.
she operates as a solid foil in that not as a foil, but like as a solid sounding board for Peter to interact with.
Which
And
is one of the most effective parts of the Mary Jane Peter relationship.
But
And if you look back to Beyond, it's very obvious that they were kind of favoring Felicia over, not necessarily obvious that they were favoring Felicia over MJ, but they were definitely giving her more.
Well, it's good drama. You want, and that's the thing too. I mean, for the record, I need to read Jed McKay's Black Cat because I love Jed McKay. I think he's a great writer. I love his Moon Knight to death, and so I've liked all his stuff that he's written for Spider-Man so far, even the Doctor Strange stuff. So I know Neil's been pounding the hammer on this run, and I need to read it. And my friend Pete from the on Twitter and on the Batman stuff, he loves this run, and so I need to check it out because I love Jed McKay, and people I respect like it, so I get it. I don't want to disrespect the run and people who read the book, but to me, this all feels like Felicia. Like, and if Felicia has like all of a sudden she changes character, I mean, there's a difference between like just a 180 and a progression. I get it, but to me, Felicia is just a flirty, like she just uses her sexuality, and that there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't want to be a one note on this either. But Felicia is just kind of like she's got a little bit of a tease, and she just is a little bit of a flirt, and that to me this is inconsistency with her character that I know her of. And again, I just reread all these issues with her, and with one thing, oh boy, McNulty, oh boy, the thing is with me is I don't think it doesn't scream to me. Again, I haven't read those issues, so I don't know how different she is. It doesn't scream to me as a different Felicia, and I think that's important because she's Spider-Man's main character. And if she did change a bunch, I'm not sure if I'd like that. I kind of like her being a little bit of a loose cannon a little bit. I like that. I think I read a little bit of the run, the first like 3-4 issues that. It didn't seem like there was much of a change there, but you had to
go to like issue 5 to see the kind of fundamental change.
I don't know if I'll be honest. I don't know if I like the fact that they changed that. If that's the case, but at the same time, I think her keeping the mask on, it's consistent with her character and relation with Peter that she has an obsession with that. I'm not talking
about that. I'm talking about like the weird thing they had back in Brand New Day where like.
Oh yeah, no. When she didn't know who Peter was, and she was just all about the sex, and she was taking milk baths where you barely had her.
That's what I'm talking about. Like if they gave like an actual shot at a relationship, even if it's just to have like a casual one, like if they don't repeat Brand New Day and they give them like a genuine shot, I will be okay.
Yeah.
My other thing here too is that the whole Bobby Felicia bit at the birthday
was weird,
very forced.
Like that, it went back to the Felicia's jealous of Peter's love life characterization, which felt odd.
I don't think that's odd. I don't think that's odd at all. I think to me that's because again, when I was reading comics. Black Cat was they were together at one point. I knew that, and then Mary Jane and Peter got married. And what did Felicia do right afterwards? What did she do? She went right to Flash Thompson to make Spider-Man jealous and try to like dive that.
But we've had 20 again. This also comes from having read her solo book.
That's great,
but she's had the 20 years since that arc where she dated Flash, or is it longer? I think it's even longer than that.
It's longer than that probably at this point. But to me,
including her moving on from just being
just spoil it for me. What exactly how much has she progressed in this run? What exactly has McKay done to the character that makes her not want to be like loving Spider-Man and have this infinite jealousy? Not loving
Spider-Man, but she has her own supporting cast, and I feel like it just going all the way back to that. How has that changed how she feels about Spider-Man? I didn't say that changed how she feels about Spider-Man, but
right.
But okay,
but where's the progression of the character? That's what I don't understand. Like, what's the problem?
Here's my other issue. We just had the big one shot with Mary Jane and Black Cat, where Black Cat and then Mary Jane come to an understanding, and you see that character progression where they come to an understanding, and you see that growth in Felicia that, hey, I love Peter, but I'm not in love with Peter. And all of a sudden here, it's like we're reading a different type of Felicia.
I don't think that's I don't read it like that because Felicia is, I mean, again, my interpretation of Felicia, she is a selfish person. That's how that is the core of the character. And I think it should remain the core of the character, because characters can still be good and selfish. I'm a selfish person. I'll be honest. Like, I have no problem like admitting that. And I think that but that's who she is. I think she's kind of a selfish person. And I think that she loves Peter and wants to like be there for him. And that ultimately, that's why she's there. She's not there because of Mary Jane. And I think that's why Mary Jane can respect her, because she cares about Peter more than just like wants to be his F buddy. I get that. But like, there's a love for Peter. But to me, like, I could see Felicia being like, of course I love Peter. And then like, oh, he's available, I love him again. Like, that totally tracks for me 1000%. Like, I don't see the problem in it at all. It all makes sense.
I mean, look, it's we'll see what happens.
You're not wrong. I don't know.
I just feel like that this issue was the start of their road.
Yeah, we got double digits. We got double digits viewers.
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh, no,
double digits.
I jinxed it. Shit.
Well,
okay.
but let me say this about my main. But let me finish my criticism, and then I'm going to praise the book for a second. Okay,
sure.
The Bobby thing was 1000% weird. Like, I was reading them like, why the hell is Mockingbird here? And I remember they dated for like a quick second, and which again, not the strength. Not the strength of the slot run, which I have defended on here many a times. I will not say but by the way, her costume though was fantastic. That's the best Mockingbird costume besides the OG costume, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, that's a really good costume.
Yeah, thank you.
Kamikoli did a good.
Kamikoli, my boy, dude. I love Kamikoli. So anyway, that being said, I love this issue for the most part, despite like some of the things about it I thought was weird. I thought it was really creative. I thought it was a really well done one and done wrap up issue, especially of doing a super adaptoid Sinister Six. The Sinister Seven tease at the beginning was really fun. I'm like, well, who's the seventh character? The adaptoid. That was a little bit of a fun switcheroo. A little bit. I thought was Spider-Man's team up with them. I thought the message of the themes of the story of what makes Peter was perfect. And that thing to me, that I don't want them to do that every single, these big issues of 900 or whatever, to be like, oh, it's a theme of Peter. What makes Spider-Man Spider-Man? But it was a great, I thought, creative ploy to give us, I think, a really fun thing like the super adaptoid. Like, it's just so super comic booky. It's but it also, like, I love like adapting the living brain, developing that character, making it more interesting, and then giving more backstory and more substance. And then all of a sudden you add all that to, what makes Peter tick, what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man. I was like, man, I love this issue. So I loved it. I thought the McGinnis art was fantastic.
The answering the core question, who is Spider-Man?
And
fantastic.
And part of me, I agree that I enjoyed the question, who is Spider-Man, and the answer of it. I don't know. I think part of it was that they had to grind the fight scene to a halt and toss Peter into the TARDIS to answer the question. And it happened twice. The fight scene, some of the pacing in this issue is really, really weird, because you start off the main plot, right? I actually think the pacing for the first third and a half, like the first third to half, is pretty good. Yeah. When you get to the Sinister Adaptoid, the pacing is really weird, because you jump. Not only are you jumping away back to the party scene where Jonah and Felicia are trying to get everybody out, but you're also having the fight scene happen, and it's a really long fight scene, so it's kind of dragging out a little bit, and then it grinds to a halt again, so that they can the Sinister Adaptoid can toss Peter into the box and have the kind of exposition, or not the exposition done, but like the kind of trivia question of who is Spider-Man, and then it starts back up again. You're like, oh boy, this fight scene is going to be really great. Oh, the arms are coming in. This is really cool. And then it grinds to a halt again, so that Peter can free a Sinister Six.
I see. I thought it worked though, because obviously the destruction of Spider-Man wasn't the point. The reveal of Spider-Man's identity wasn't the point. It was to find out who is Spider-Man. Like
I know
what?
that's what I'm saying though. I don't have a problem with that. I have a
Right?
problem
No,
with
I know. But I think the pacing, but that's why the pacing doesn't feel weird to me, because that was the driving motivation of what they're doing, and because of that, like they're tossing him in for that reason, to figure out what is making this guy tick. Like, is he going to is he going to use this opportunity to free the villains? Is he, they want to see what he's going to do. That was the point, right? So. Again, pacing, I want to argue and say you're wrong, because you're not. It didn't work for you, but for me, it worked because I felt it was in line with what the story was telling us about. We're trying to figure out Spider-Man. We're not trying to beat him to a pulp, because if that was the case, that's what the Adaptoid would have done. But he didn't. They're trying, the brain was trying to figure out what made him tick. So they're trying to do different, to me, scenarios of why, of what will make Spider-Man tick or whatever. To me worked.
I'll say the resolution of him like showing mercy to the ultimate living brain, that was a solid character moment. I'm just talking about like the middle third of the book where Peter is going, where it's going in between Peter fighting the Adaptoid, and then it cuts to the TARDIS, and then Peter gets thrown back out again, and then it grinds to a halt when he goes into the Sinister Six's dungeon thing. That was where the book really faltered for me. And then when it got with that last third where Peter's fighting the Sinister Six to save the living brain, I liked that last third, and I fundamentally enjoyed like Peter showing the living brain mercy. Like, he doesn't, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna take a bullet for the Green Goblin because no one dies, I guess, which was one of the worst parts of Slott's run, I'm gonna be honest, but that's not relevant. Like Peter saying like, I'm not going to kill you, but you still screwed up, man. You got to face some consequences. I'm going to unplug you for a bit so you can be humanely taken care of with someone who knows what they're doing. And I appreciated that that mercy on Peter's part that doesn't avoid the consequences. And I don't know. I liked the core thesis, but it wasn't to me. It wasn't translated very properly. And at least in that second third of the book.
Yeah,
where they had to stop the plot to tell us.
Yeah, and that's fine. I think it was, again, cramming as much as they did in the story. I thought it was pretty well done, and I didn't really feel that the pacing was an issue for me, because I felt like, again, I got an idea that the living brain is manipulating everything, and it was trying to, I should say, it was trying to figure out, and it was using different scenarios to get Spider-Man to where he wanted to go. And that, to me, it worked. So I didn't really felt like the jarringness. I will say the only thing jarring for me was when it went all black. I kept thinking my Comixology thing was out. I'm like, what? Why is it not loading? I kept like, what the heck? And I'm like, oh, it's actually supposed to be black.
Guys, let's waste a page in this 96-page book.
That was. But you know what? Artistically speaking, it worked, because I'm like,
it's effective to a point. Yeah,
it's effective to a point.
It's a waste of a page technically, but.
Yeah, it works. It works for what it is. I don't know. Maybe I think of
I put a big TV blip on it, when the TV shuts off.
They could have shown something. They just made a black page. I don't know. I think of page space and page usage and character usage in practical terms. And we'll get into. I kind of want to touch on like people getting upset that Mary Jane wasn't in this issue, because I understand that, but also I have a reason why I'm okay with it. But it comes down to practicality. As someone who writes and draws comics, practicality is kind of my number one priority.
There are a lot of supporting characters in this book.
Yeah, Mike, I was gonna say unplugging him doesn't really kill him, because the servers are still there, and the brain itself is still there, but I guess it's implied that he'll get plugged. If he gets plugged in somewhere else, he'll be okay.
It's like when your laptop battery runs out.
Yeah.
And then you have to plug it in again.
Do we want to talk about the backups?
Not really.
Okay.
Can I just? we can. They're okay.
There's not a whole lot to say about
the Jimmy Kimmel one is pandering.
Let me say something. Let me say something about the issue.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the biggest con actually with the issue is that the continuity for the supporting characters wasn't used well. We have all these questions. Why is Vin Gonzalez there? Why is Betty still pregnant?
Why is Carly there?
Well, Carly can be there. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Why is Bobby there?
Oh, that's
I thought, the last we saw Jonah in Spencer's run, wasn't he kind of like
he was on
iffy
the
about
outs.
Peter?
Yeah, he was on the outs with Peter. He
Yeah. So
was like,
why
screw
is
this,
this
I'm gonna go do someone else as a hero.
exactly? So it's like all of a sudden that got patched up, I guess, but we don't see it. The Flash thing is it's a joke, and
Jesus, that
I get
made
the
me
humor behind it,
upset.
like I already said, but it's just like it feels like with Flash's death and him coming back, and it was such a big dramatic moment for issue 800 that there should be more to just like, oh, what, you're still working at the Bugle? What a loser! It's like, oh, you're actually unemployed.
You're
That's,
even more of a loser.
yeah.
But
And
like,
I don't know. It's just kind
there
of that.
are issues that went between these two characters that were first appeared in Amazing Fantasy 15. You had a dramatic death experience where Peter Parker was holding the lifeless body of anti-venom venomized Flash Thompson, where he was literally dead, got revived during an event that had nothing that was
They never crossed paths at all.
they just happened to never cross paths somehow, some way in that event. You use part of that event to revive said character, and this is the first interaction you get with them.
It's just not.
I
feel like Wells and the Spidey office can do better and should do better in that respect.
Also, Flash shouldn't even be here. He should be in Conan's time period. He's in Savage Avengers right now.
Well, I mean, that's.
I do want to say
that's not a huge deal, but like it speaks to the lack of.
Well, since when has there been consistent editorial input across
characters? I know.
Since Quesada started. I mean, basically, the last time we had consistency across the line probably was Civil War.
I did like the joke where Aunt May is like, "You're a very hard person to schedule for," and Peter's like, "I showed up on time," and everyone's mad at me for it.
Yeah,
that one kind of got me. I'll be honest, you got me there.
I mean, I think the arms thing, Doc Ock's arms is
being like
weird,
a pet,
but it's kind of cute. There
was a weird charm to it. Yeah.
Yes. The thing is, this is a goofy ass issue, which I think kind of makes the sort of tonal shift with the philosophical thematic question of who is Spider-Man that gets flipped on its head, which is like, oh, he's he saves people essentially, which I like that a lot, but there's something there that I don't know. I really like that question and the flipping of it, but there's something there that the issue is almost too zany for that, but not really. I don't know, because it's a good end to the story, and it fits the 60-year anniversary and the 900th issue. But then I don't know. There's something missing there, and I think Wells
different than the rest of the 5 issues of this of this book so far. It is a complete 180.
This is old. This seems like kind of an older Wells thing. I'm honestly wondering when this was written, if he wrote this after the first 5, or I don't know. I mean, maybe he did. But
I'm wondering if like they had like a little in-house competition where like, hey, send your pitch in for ASM 900. Let's see what you can do. I gotta respect him for combing through the first annual and the first appearances and like figuring out where to put Stan Lee's dialogue, because that had to have been hard. To make that fit. And apparently, in the interview in the back, the Sinister Six is like his top thing. So Zeb Wells is, yeah.
I think it is. It's an interesting tribute to his favorite thing for the character's 900th issue and the 60th anniversary.
Everything wasn't Ben Reilly.
Yeah, and I think the new Living Brain looks awesome, and hopefully they don't shelve him, because it's a cool character.
I really think like Brainiac
design.
5 from the Legion of Superheroes.
It looks awesome, and the art is awesome. Inking discrepancies aside.
So the colors somehow flowed really well together too. I was surprised how little discrepancy there was between colorists.
I don't know, like it's not perfect, but it kind of gets the job done. It's just there's just weird. It's a weird one. It's a celebration of the character while also trying to push the continuity forward, and it's just
it tries
strange.
to do both, and I don't think it succeeds at either. To be honest, to be honest, this wasn't worth $10. I know that it's like, oh, that's subjective, but this was not like this could have been told in a standalone issue. It just didn't feel like it needed to be a centennial.
I just wonder, like, should we have gotten, because I realized when we didn't get more of what is now the New Living Brain as a backup story in the previous issues, we only got it in the first one. I realized, like, oh, they're probably fitting it all in the big issue, and it's like, should there have been more build up to this? I don't know.
No, I to me, even if you had devoted 1 or 2 more pages throughout the previous 5 issues, I think you would have been much better off.
Maybe at least like tease, and well, I guess they had the weird tease where like Tombstone is apparently, he has the costumes, but I don't know if that was actually related to this at all.
Right. It'll be interesting to see how this is going to fit narratively moving forward. But
right.
Look, I talk about the artwork for a minute. There are some weird faces. You can tell that McGinnis was on a deadline.
I mean, he's doing 70 pages, man. Like,
yeah, 70 pages. He did pretty good.
And some of that could be the inkers too. But I mean, I'm not gonna fault necessarily the art team because I don't see, this is why I'm the art apologist here, because like people seem to want Romita every issue, and you're not gonna get Romita Senior. You're not gonna get Romita Senior if the book is coming out twice a month, and that's why. No, I'm talking about Senior, because people want that like
consistency.
People want that
because he was
perfection,
I mean, and that was the difference between him and Ditko. Ditko was
Ditko's a cartoonist, is what I will say. Ditko's like expressive. It's body language. In the museum exhibit, there's a profile on him, and it says like his strength was expression, facial expressions, body language. That was his thing. He was a cartoonist. He's not Neil Adams. It's a totally different ball game there. I think some people get a little, with what comic art has become, they sort of expect too much of these artists, especially when these artists are getting more detailed and they're getting put on a book like Spider-Man, which is coming out twice a month. And I don't know if they can do 2 issues a month, like you got to cut them a little bit of slack here.
Even Rebirth, which was like hailed as like DC's new golden age, they had trouble maintaining consistent art on a lot of their flagships. Like on Superman, Pat Gleason wasn't able to do bi-weekly. Right. He had most of that Superman run was fill-ins by Doug Mankey.
That's true.
I'm just saying, give the artists just a little bit of slack, because it's a hard job, and who knows how much they're getting paid for it.
Also, labor rights have drastically changed in the decades since.
He had to help with page rates. I mean, this is going to be. I mean, McGinnis is going to make some money on this issue just because the amount of issues that are going to be sold, and the amount of pages he did. I mean, the page rate's going to be, the page rate will be nice. This is a nice chunk of change for him. And again, if he's going to be part of the rotation,
apparently, that is.
I'm in. Yeah, I'm in for Ed McGinnis.
I like his art. I like his art. It's great in this issue.
Good. It looks like Pat Gleason's going to coming back in a few issues, and Romita's going to be doing more. He's doing the next arc. It's again.
Oh, I know what set me off on what got me upset about the Felicia thing was kind of the way it made me overthinking it, but kind of the way she's kind of treated as a reward for Peter at the end.
Yeah.
That felt a little unearned. Not necessarily unearned, but it felt a little awkward. Like, oh, here's Felicia, I guess. You get to kiss her, Pete. Good work. Have a good centennial.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't.
Especially, and that might be why I'm why I brought up McKay's run earlier was because Felicia gained a lot of autonomy as a character. Like she was able to, like I said, gain her own supporting cast, gain mostly on her own motivations. Like she's still tied to Peter, but
Right.
she wasn't tied in the same way that she was in like in the 80s. And
you remember I was very skeptical of that Black Cat book.
So was I, especially when it was announced like Travel Foreman was on the book. Jesus
Christ. But McKay won me over. I mean, and that's one of those things where I felt like that the character progression was Felicia, like Venom, no longer has to stand on the shoulder of Spider-Man. She has her own autonomy. She has her own ability to stand on her own. She is not just intrinsically tied. It's what I liked about how they portrayed the Amazing Mary Jane book, where the character can stand on their own. It's why I'm so pissed off about one of the reasons I'm so pissed off about the Ben Reilly thing. And, but at the same time, I kind of feel like we're at an hour 45 and we spent 45 minutes talking about the issue. I feel like that we've pretty well exhausted. I mean, is there anything else you guys want to talk about? I mean, we could talk about the backups a little bit.
I kind of want to talk about the positives. And this is going to sound like a weird one, but that MJ wasn't in this story. That sounds weird. That sounds weird, especially because I've been like, let's get this Paul subplot moving, fellas.
I do kind of wish they would hurry up with that because we're getting 2 issues a month, but it's still a drag.
But this kind of ties into Paul's it's better. The book is better when it's not dwelling on the
definitely is
subplot.
That is 100% fact.
Like I said, I'm a comic writer, so I value practicality. If they're not going to do the character right, just trim the fat. And I don't think they could have done MJ's subplot a whole lot of justice in this story, because it would have been even more of a Debbie Downer situation. Hey, look how miserable Peter is.
On his birthday.
Yeah, at his own birthday party. But the fact that she wasn't there allowed the plot to flow a lot smoother, especially as a one and done. And again, if they're really dedicated to pushing the Peter Felicia romance again, you might as well just kind of trim that fat, especially when you're focusing on like Peter and Felicia's dynamic in either the fore or the background. I guess it was kind of a mid-ground kind of thing, because it wasn't like background, but it wasn't like the central focus of the plot.
Right.
I don't know. Like we said, Ed McGuinness kind of carried the book for me.
What other positives you got, Paul?
Yeah, I just think that this I like the art too, even though I think both MJ and Bobby were a little bit exaggerated. I'll just say that. It's just like I was reading. I'm like,
you just said MJ.
No, I'm sorry, Bobby and Felicia. They're just kind of well. I'm like, oh, okay. We're going back to the 90s. I get it. It's just a little distracting. I'm sorry. It's like maybe I'm a prude. I don't know, but
one thing we've all agreed on,
all the prude.
The Bobby Felicia bit was total dog shit.
It wasn't good. That wasn't dog shit.
It's just a weird thing.
Yeah, it's weird.
Especially because
I don't know. I think I kind of agree that Felicia would be like, get out of here to her.
Yeah, she's a jealous type. I think I buy that one.
Or I don't know. Like, well, jealous, but not really. Like, or like, what are you doing here? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know
maybe she's the voice of the audience, because we all were like, what is Bobby doing here? You know, I mean, that's kind of what I thought. No, I think this is a great solid issue, man. I really liked it a lot. I thought that. I like the fact that it was one and done. I love the fact that you developed and I think evolved the living brain. I dug the new design of living brain.
Dude, me too.
Fantastic. Yes. And so I'm all about like developing these characters like the living brain and making them more interesting and giving them more like, I won't say credence, but it's more of a backstory and just, you're developing the character. And I think that it was really cool. It was a really good, logical, I think, next step. And I think having Dr. Octopus involved in it made sense, considering Living Brain's role in Superior Spider-Man and Doc Ock.
But I mean, in Superior, all Living Brain did was asking about tasty beverages. At least here there was some growth.
There's an existential question to be asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I liked all that. I just thought that the theme of what makes Spider-Man tick was not something I was expecting. I thought it was just going to be a very, again, which I have no problem of, or it's just going to be like a super adaptoid, Sinister Six villain attacking Spider-Man. I'm like, okay, I'm down with that, which I was. I thought Ed McGuinness's art was really good in this, to be honest, besides some of the weird anatomy issues, I will say. But that being
their issues necessarily.
Yeah,
what are you talking about? This was good for me. I ate well today.
Oh wow! No, it wasn't. It's fine. It just was a little distracting. It's like, come on, can you just back it off a little bit. That being said, I liked everything about it. I honestly thought Wells did a good job ushering in a one and done. He introduced the Sinister, he reintroduced the Sinister Six. He brought in a new villain, the Super Adaptoid, developed a new super villain, and also all in the meantime developed, I think, a really great aspect of Spider-Man. Really touched on that aspect. But I think the underrated thing that people are going to probably bitch about the most, which I was down with, was the fact that the arms like Spider-Man. I like that. Yeah. I thought that was really, really cool. And I like the fact I saw people being, the arms are weird, Spider-Man, and blah, 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 at the very end. Yeah, they love him. Not want to hump him, I hope not. I mean, I don't think Wells is going to go that route, but they like him. And I think I like that idea that they had the little hearts, they care about Spider-Man and what he's feeling. And I like that there's empathy there for him through the arms. Because then there is all of a sudden now, because of that weird Spider-Man Doc Ock connection, you give even more interesting, they're enemies, but they're kind of not. I like where they're going with it, because at some point, Dr. Octopus is going to have to hate Spider-Man, and now he might have even more reason to hate Spider-Man because, hey, my arms have fallen in love with you. What the hell? And now he's going to have to take control of them, and that's going to cause. Think about this. They're and this is where I think Wells is smart. He's treated them like they're an animal, like a dog, right? It's a girl. He calls it a girl. So now he's developing this idea that for fans to get mad at Dr. Octopus again. Not that we need reason, but now there's going to be a real emotional backstory of when he has to take control and be a dick to his arms. That's going to be a legitimate bummer, because now if he does a good job in again, I'm assuming he's doing this. If he does a good job and develops that could be an emotional breaking point for their relationship, as far as between Peter and Doc Ock and having that hatred come back again. There's always that rivalry, but now there could be I had to take control of this. I am in control, not the arms. I am in control. And I like that aspect of bringing that back into Dr. Octopus and giving him more, a little more, in my opinion, what's the word I'm looking for? Just more prominence in the story, more importance, I think, in Spider-Man mythos a little bit, and just trying to make him come back to his square one, if you will, without having to neuter the character, in my opinion. I think that's actually pretty. If he's doing that with this story, which I think he's leading into, I'm really excited, because I think there's a lot of fun storytelling with this. And I wasn't expecting it, but I thought it was naturally really well done, because they saw Spider-Man trying to do the right thing, and they liked him for it. And I thought that he was rewarded for it. And I also like the idea of showing people that good deeds will not, can be rewarded. They can, karma, if you will. Right. So I feel that again, themes. I like that stuff. So that's why I love this issue. It's not perfect. It's hard to be a 10 out of 10, but like I said, a B is, I think, where it needs to be. Is perfect. I think, again, I don't like the fact that Felicia and Spider-Man are making out. I just okay, get it. You want to add more drama between him and Peter, him and MJ. I get it, blah, blah. Because eventually it's at the end game, we all know is going to be MJ and Peter together. So I get it. I 1000% think it's going to happen. I have no doubts. So I'm just okay, get it over with. Let's get this going.
Somebody did say to you, Paul, that you said it'd be 6 issues. And
remember that bet we made at the start of the run?
Yeah. Okay. All right. I was wrong.
I'm sorry. I'm just kind of right in the
No, no.
Listen, Neil. From an old man to a young man, pride will only be your downfall, sir. So just know that.
No.
Anyway,
No. I'm not saying this. Like he's right. Like I'm saying I'm not going to be. I'm just saying like it's this. I'm not going to be prideful and be like no blah blah blah. It's like yeah, totally. You got me on that one. I still think I will.
You're a bigger man than I would have, because I would have thrown a goddamn fit if I was wrong.
because in the end I know I'm going to be right. That's the thing. I mean, what I could. It's going to be longer, obviously, but I mean, to me, like I said, they're really playing up on this. It's going to be probably 12, maybe more now, but. The fact that they're now showing us Spider-Man's moving on with Felicia, as far as we know, it's
for all we know, it's a birthday.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, but I don't think it's an accident at the very end of the issue to cliffhanger on that either. So
Wells has given himself a solid, like, I can go either way.
Exactly.
And like I said, I'm not opposed to it as like a placeholder relationship. I don't know. There's something about it that. I guess it might also be that I've read the Black Cat run, and Felicia's been kind of independent of Peter for a while, so it's kind of, I don't want to say regressing, but I don't know. There's something about it. I don't know. Call it a gut feeling.
So
I get it.
Also, I'm going to be honest. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't pay $10 for all this. I feel like this was not really centennial issue material. Like the core thesis was, but
the art, like I thought the art was fantastic. I mean, the story is pretty fun. I like super. What more do we want? I mean, for me, what more do I want?
I don't even know what I want from a centennial. It's hard to describe what I want from a centennial issue.
And if I may ask you, like, I think what you want something that's going to be impactful for the main story going forward. I think that's what you're looking for.
I think so.
Yeah,
like I said, the art was good, and I liked the core thesis, but some parts of it felt like soft parody. Like the bit at Peter's birthday party just felt like, okay, let's get this going. Once we got into the actual like Sinister Adaptoid stuff and the actual thesis began, it did its job, and I guess it's just like, okay, maybe we could have moved the story forward a little bit, pretty please. I don't know.
No, I get that, and I think that's a fair criticism because, it is a big issue, and but I think that to me again, I think that's a strength of the issue because it is such a one and done thing that it's refreshing because I think the tendency is to do what you're saying, and it's not wrong. I think that especially with again my criticism of Zeb Wells is. I don't like this whole like what's happened 6 months ago. Like I don't like that. I hate this. Get that over with.
Why does everyone hate Peter? Find out next issue.
Yeah, I want to get that over with. I just want to move because I think what we're getting is his ideas for Tombstone and the Super Adaptoid. Like this stuff is great. It's the stuff that he's like the mystery stuff. It's not good. It's like we didn't need this. That's what sucks about it. It's like Zeb Wells is doing good work.
And that's what
Tombstone thing is like. You didn't have to break up Peter and Mary Jane to have the Tombstone thing be the plot of the
and Adaptoid.
And every time I read like the MJ or the Paul and MJ stuff, every time they do that, I just feel miserable. So it's like focus on not miserable, but like it's like we're just cutting back to this mystery that no one cares about.
It's a drag, I think.
It's definitely a drag. 1000% a drag. I think anything with the mystery between MJ and 6 months ago and why people hate him. I'm not into it. Like I just want it to end so badly. And I think I'm curious. I'm hoping
building or something and just call it there.
I just hope that when it does end, I hope it ends soon so I can see Zeb Wells without the mystery box at this point because I think his stories have been so good. Like they're pretty damn good and creative and interesting. And also like bringing in so many deep cuts, like, Digger and the Rose and like, the Tombstone fight was fantastic and using all these different things. He is doing good stuff. The Super Adaptoid, the Living Brain. He's really, like Spencer before him, he's utilizing more of the toys in the toy box and not in an obnoxious way where it's like, hey guys, remember this guy? Remember him? Like not doing it like that. He's using it very naturally. And I think that's really good. So I think that I want to see Zeb Wells away from his mystery box. Let's get in with the regular, the linear story. Give me that story.
I'm worried about going into the Norman arc because, like, obviously whatever Norman did, or whatever Norman is doing with Peter is tied to that mystery, and it's like, okay, we're gonna drag this shit out again. Let's go. Oh well.
Well, you know, it was announced that Cantwell's doing a miniseries, or I'm not sure what kind of series it is for Gold Goblin, and man, I've seen people rag on Cantwell's Iron Man. His Iron Man run is fantastic.
I like his Iron Man.
I freaking love it. And
I have a few more asterisks attached to my
like
Iron Man run. I like it, yeah. But I have a few asterisks attached to it overall. I did like it, and then I fell off, and then I got back on the horse. But I don't know. I don't know how much I'm looking.
Cantwell's doing Gold Goblin.
I'm not buying
I feel confident. I feel confident that if he's doing Gold Goblin, there is a through line that Zeb and Nick and they've got for him, and I like where they're going with it. I like this idea that Norman's trying to be, because I like it. It could completely be complete crap, because I think you eventually have to get him back to Green Goblin. Because here's the thing: do I think he's eventually going to get there? So my whole thinking is, but here's the fun thing: how creative can they be to get him to that point and make me care? That's the trick, right? We all know it's going to happen. How's it going to happen? How can they do it effectively? Is the true trick of all comic book writers for mainstream comic books. So to me, how can they get Gold Goblin and Norman Osborn to like become Green Goblin and have him be Spider-Man's arch nemesis again and have it be natural, which I thought, or I have no idea. And I'm very curious where this through line is, because now that Norman and Spider-Man are teaming up, what does that mean and everything? I'm intrigued. Because eventually it's going to have to get to the status quo. How do we get there? So I'm interested. I'm intrigued. It could all blow up in my face, and that's fine, because the good news is a new writer will come in and hopefully do something better. So, but right now I'm very impressed with what he's done, minus the mystery box. Get the mystery box out of here.
My hope is that sometime we get an end to the character, not necessarily like oh let's blow up the universe, but like I tend to view brands as having a shelf life. That's more of just the practical side of me, and in my opinion, I feel like Spider-Man's hit his 60. Good for him. Let's bring it to a close. And I know that's endless consumption is necessary for the blood wheels of American consumerism, but I don't know. I feel like the endless and pointless resuscitation of brands is ultimately to storytelling's detriment.
Good story. Anyone can be creative and write a good story, man. It doesn't matter if it's like if a character's been around for 60 years, 10 years, 5 years. He's been, because it's evident. Because look at Dick Spencer. He was able to write great stories. Look at JMS. JMS came in and wrote. He brought in a completely different narrative or not narrative, but a whole different ideas.
I know.
New villains, and they're all like.
I'm thinking mostly from a practical standpoint. I just think the longer a brand goes on, like this is kind of just the way things operate in reality. You get more, you get way more hit and miss with the quality of your stories as time goes on. So
that's the thing, though. You could have said that when I was reading Spider-Man at 30 years, when 30 years ago, when I was reading Spider-Man, like he was fighting the same villains. Green Goblin was gone at that point, but like we had Hobgoblin like 3, and like Web of Spider-Man wasn't the best book to read. I mean, let's be real. Spectacular Spider-Man was solid, but like I still loved it, and they were still doing different things. And imagine 30 years ago, I mean, that's the thing is to me. I just think that
the benefit of hindsight. It's one of those things where I'm like, it sucked, and it was great then. Everything sucked.
Well, that's the thing is like I think ultimately it matters to like if you get tired of like again, I wouldn't say rehash, but like if you get tired of like a never-ending story, then yeah, I think the mainstream comics may not be your thing, because it's like that's
reading indie shit.
Right, and that's fine. Like that's totally cool. I love the character of Spider-Man. I like to know what's going on, and because I thought like you at one point too. I'm like, it's never going to end. And every time I do that, I always come back and have fun reading back. I'm like, oh man, I never thought they'd do like that's really fun. Like that's really I never thought they would do that. I never thought of that. That's really crazy. I mean, JMS is filled with that, and I think. You just gotta love. If you love the character enough, you stick around. I mean, and that's the thing is I've been reading this for a while, and I just have fun reading the character. I want to be surprised, and I think for the most part, Spider-Man's been pretty good. It's been pretty solid since I've read it. I think the slot stuff has been at the very end been the weakest. I definitely fell off there for a little bit because it was pretty just mediocre. But I think they've done a good job for the most part, keeping me interested as a fan. So. Indie shit's good too, man. I mean, like, again, a good story is a good story, whether it be Spider-Man or it's freaking like, again, From Hell by Alan Moore, where it's just like freaking dark and just dense. I mean, it doesn't matter what your preference is. A good story is a good story. A good story could be a one and done 30-page story like today, or whatever it was. It could be a good story. It could be 2 pages. I've seen great retellings of Spider-Man's story and origins in 2-3 pages, and it's like, oh, that was really fun. It really depends on what you want and what you're looking for, and yeah, I love this.
All right, let's give Adam and Zach some. We've been very vocal. Let's give the other boys some time.
I'll go to Adam first, and then we'll go to me, and we'll wrap up.
All right, Adam, let's go.
I mean, it was a good one for the most part. Like, I don't know. I like I said, weird supporting character continuity there. I feel like Wells and the Spidey office should maybe think about looking at that a little closer. Just, because McGinnis's art is great. New Living Brain is great. Bring him back. The philosophical theme of the issue is great. I like the tentacle gag. Like Neil said earlier, I said it was kind of a goofy, cute thing, and Neil was like, yeah, it's got a goofy charm to it, and yeah, it does. And I like what Paul said, like, now there's a Dr. Octopus conflict that they can harness, if you will, in the future.
Hey,
yeah, I mean, it's not a perfect issue, but it's solid. And I mean, what do we expect from an anniversary issue? Who knows? I mean, this could have just been like Amazing Fantasy 1000. Not really to knock that, but that's just basically an anthology title, which is what the title was pretty much originally anyway. So it fits, but I mean, I don't know. It progresses the narrative to an extent. Maybe it should progress it a little more. Who knows? I mean, the art was good, so I think you want good art at the very least, not to to at least have it be interesting to look at. It's like, oh, cool, like he's fighting all the villains, and there's a cool new villain. I don't know. It was pretty good.
All right, let's wrap it up with the man himself, Zach. 900 of these nuts. Was it all worth it?
I hate you sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
Look, is it worth the 900th issue? Maybe not, but it's trying to do 2 things at once, and I think because of that, I think the expectations were higher. It's trying to be the 60th anniversary issue. It's trying to be the 900th issue. So trying to combine those two elements together, I think maybe gave people a level of expectation that maybe wasn't necessarily warranted. It's a great one. It's a good one and done. Great philosophical question asked. There's some fun elements of the Sinister Six becoming the Sinister Seven for the brief moment that it was. The banter between the Sinister Six was pretty good at times. Some of the humor hit and some of the humor fell flat. Artwork was good throughout. Was good to great throughout. And yeah, so we'll onward and upward. We're gonna be back in a few weeks to cover the next couple issues. So I'm looking forward to that.
All right.
So
yeah.
we'll start wrapping this episode up. If you made it through all the way to the end, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And of course, to those of you guys on audio editions, we apologize for the use of the visual aids at the time. But hopefully you'll join us on youtube.com/Spideydude Radio Network. Oh, wrong button as I hit the explosion. Yeah, let's wrap this episode up. You can follow us at Spideydude Radio on Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook as well, Spideydude Radio, at Spideydude Radio Network, as well as Instagram. You can always leave us a voicemail. We haven't had a voicemail in a while. 818-925-6631 is the phone number. And if you want to leave us an email, you can always leave us an email. The email address, SpideyDudeRadioNetwork@gmail.com. You can follow Paul at the Comic Book Binge YouTube channel. You can also follow him at Herman22 on Twitter. So check it out there. We'll have a new episode of Make My Mayday soon. And of course, you can follow our other shows, such as Books of X, Patreon first show on patreon.com/Spideydude Network. You've also got our other shows like Voices from the Eerie, a Gargoyles podcast as well. So check us all out on Spidey-Dude.com. We got some more stuff coming to you very, very soon. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time here on the Spideydude Radio Network and the Spideydude Experience.